You want to be heard. Good evening and welcome to the October 3rd, 2024 meeting of the Planning Commission of the City of Calabasas. We have a full complement of commissioners here this evening, and I am going to ask Commissioner Leah, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Thank you. Okay. Do we have any changes to or a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the agenda is approved. Announcements and introductions. We'll start this way. Commissioner Mueller.
Nothing this evening.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Harrison.
Well, I just want to wish everyone who's celebrating a Happy New Year for Rosh Hashanah, and it's got to be better than the last one.
Yeah, we can only hope. We can only hope. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Washburn.
I can just thank everybody for staying home and celebrating so I can get around in town with all of the horrible traffic that we've been dealing with recently. So thank you for that. But I also want to make sure that everybody knows that the signs have been posted and the Pumpkin Festival is on its way. Go on the website, take a look. I think it's October 16th. Am I correct? Anybody remember? Now that's a story. Nobody here. So everybody needs to go to the website and look up the Pumpkin Festival. This is probably our, well, with one or two exceptions, probably somewhere close to 30 years now. So don't miss it. It's fun.
All right. Thank you. Commissioner Leah? Okay. Commissioner? Okay. All right. Then moving on. Oral communications, public comment. This is for people wishing to address the commission for matters that are not on the agenda. I know that we have speaker cards from those who are in the audience for the matter that is on the agenda. I don't see anyone else, so we are going to move on to the consent items, and we have two items. The first is approval of the minutes of the September 5th, 2024 meeting. Any additions, corrections, or a motion to approve? Yeah.
He's speaking to the mic.
Is your speaker on?
Three lines down, citizens and/or young people. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
You don't think they're mutually exclusive?
Or young people aren't citizens. I don't know.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know, but perhaps the Metro Accessibility Advisory Committee has a certain number of spots for students, but I don't know that.
There is a youth council, essentially, at MTA, and it's separate. No one would turn down other than maybe an 11-year-old going on to the main committee. So there's place for everybody if they're interested.
I'm not saying it's wrong, it's just that it's kind of read crazy.
Enough so that you want to propose adjusting the language?
That's for John.
Strike the or.
Okay, citizens, no, I think that the objection would still remain.
Yeah.
Citizens and young people.
can
I
just
think
say
the
citizens.
objection is to
Young people are citizens, though.
calling them
Yeah,
out
that's
as
what I mean.
different. Yeah.
Citizens
citizens.
including.
Well,
Okay,
that's,
how about
always
that?
to add that
answer.
word, then it gets in trouble because there is a youth council.
Okay, I'm exhausted.
Anyway,
All right,
I do have one teeny tiny question on the minutes on page
But
3.
hold on. Let's take care of this one first.
okay,
Do we
the shape
need, do
is
we
not
need
going
a
to sink
change?
if we leave it. I mean, it just
Okay,
doesn't read.
thank you.
Let's
Yeah,
fix it.
point well taken, but Dennis?
I almost
Page
said,
three, Item D,
almost matter like this, I almost said including but not limited to.
You're a lawyer.
Yep.
Well,
lawyers in
adults
the
and
room.
young people.
Item D, top of page 3, whereby 100% of the revenue would accrue to the city. I think we actually had a spirit that said, if any.
What, wait, what page are
What-
we on?
Page 3, item D,
There-
request of the city council consider allowing public digital signage on
I,
municipal
we're,
properties.
I think that's.
Oh, you're on the other
that's-
minutes?
We're not, that's
Whereby
not the minute. Hold on,
100% of
Dennis,
revenue-
Dennis, that's not the minutes we're on. Let's.
Did I miss
we're-
it?
Well, there's
There
two,
are
there's
two.
two sets of minutes.
There are two.
Sorry,
They were kind of sticking
This is
together.
the 5th we
We're
were
on
talking about.
September 5th.
okay,
We'll be on to that one in a minute.
never mind.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the minutes of the meeting of September 5th, 2024 are approved. Now we're moving on to the minutes of the meeting of September 19th, 2024. Commissioner Washburn, do you have any comments?
I'm looking for the other minutes, they must have got stuck in my
Yeah,
packet,
you
sorry
want-
about that.
you wanna look up
Anyway,
mine?
top of page 3, item D, you know, it was a significant idea, which is to say that the council should consider potentially putting digital signage structures and programs into municipal properties whereby I guess we would make income if we sold advertising. We haven't had that debate. That's a whole nother story. So I think that the spirit of that was if there was any revenue to be had, that it would accrue to the city.
I think whereby to,
Whereby 100% of revenue would accrue to the city.
yeah, whereby 100 doesn't, whereby doesn't fit in that one. How did I miss that?
Allowing public to use
Whatever.
unreasonable property
But, you know,
whereby
that's a
100%.
policy decision that
Well, I
has
think
yet
the
to be
whereby-
made. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it is what we discussed. It
Well,
was.
with Bob's addition, I'll move to
Yeah.
approve.
Second.
Which edition?
That was on the,
That was the other one.
oh.
Okay, so-
Including, you want to change Weatherby to including?
In this case,
Where-
I just
well,
want to say
no.
whereby 100% of revenue,
Yeah,
if
no,
any.
I think whereby is appropriate because it says if it happens, then 100% of the revenue would accrue.
It's
So
fine
I
as
think
it
that
is. Forget to
whereby,
mention it altogether, and I still move the minutes.
probably. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll abstain.
Okay, any opposed? All right. All right, the minutes are approved 5-0. Okay. Moving on to the public hearing item. This is file number SPR 2024-001, request for a site plan review for the construction of a 1,113 square foot addition to the existing two-story residence located at 22644 Paul Revere Drive within the residential single-family zoning district. Jacqueline, do we have a presentation?
Yes, we do. Thank
Thank
you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. First, I want to mention that this project was noticed to all property owners within 500 feet of the subject site. The notice was also posted on the city's website and throughout the city at all required locations. Staff received one clarification question from a neighboring resident. No other comments were received and no objections to the project were expressed. And again, this is a request for a site plan review for the construction of a 1,113 square foot addition to the existing two-story single-family residence located at 22644 Paul Revere Drive. Here you can see the project location map. The project site is located to the north of Mulholland Highway. It's within the residential single-family zoning district and within the greater Moldwood community. The site is surrounded to the north, south, east, and west by other single-family residences. And this slide shows a close-up view of the existing site. You can see the roof outline of the main residence, as well as landscape in the front yard, hardscape in the backyard, and a pool in the backyard of the residence. This is a site photograph that just shows the front of the current residence as viewed from the street, so this is facing south. And you can see in this image the current exterior is an off-white stucco with brick elements. You can see the brick trim. Let me see. You can see my cursor, around the garage here, and in the pathways leading up to the house and on the walls on either side of the house. So the proposal includes construction of additions totaling 1,113 square feet, 613 square feet to the first floor and 500 square feet to the second floor of an existing 2-story single-family residence, as well as construction of a new balcony/trellis at the rear of the house. The project also involves modification of the residence's architectural style and the addition of new planters and new pervious surfaces to bring the property into compliance with the pervious surface requirements of the RS zone. And Calabasas Municipal Code Section 17.62.020 requires this project to be reviewed by the Planning Commission because the proposed addition is greater than 20% of the floor area of the existing residence. I do want to mention there was a prior approval at this address in November of 2023. That was a request for an administrative plan review for a similar scope of work. It was a smaller addition of 600 square feet, but in the same location at the front of the house. So that was approved at a director's hearing in November of 2023. Following that approval, the property owners chose to modify the scope of work to enlarge the size of the addition, so they subsequently submitted for this application for a site plan review for the present project. And this is just a rendering that shows that difference in architectural style. So in comparison with the photo shown before, this is the proposed new architectural style of the residence. And moving on to the project plans, first we have the proposed site plan. The site plan is color-coded, so you can see the legend on the right-hand side of the slide. The addition is located at the front of the residence. You can see my cursor there. The first floor addition is 613 square feet, which is in purple, and then the second floor addition is 500 square feet, which is shown in blue here. So the existing residence is currently legal non-conforming in regards to the west side setback, so that's over here, which is currently 7.5 feet, as well as non-conforming in regards to pervious surfaces due to the fact that the residence was constructed in 1969 prior to the city's incorporation. The addition is proposed to continue the existing non-conforming west side setback up to 50% of the length of the existing area that's non-conforming as allowed by code. And in regards to pervious surfaces, the existing driveway will be replaced with permeable pavers. New planters will also be installed at the front of the addition, which you can see outlined right here and right here on either side of the front door. And at the rear of the house, which is currently mainly concrete, these areas of concrete will be removed and gravel will be installed instead to replace that existing hardscaping to bring the permeable surface percentage into conformance with the requirements of the RS zone, which is 50% minimum, and they're proposing to bring it up to 50%. The project complies with all other development standards for the RS zone, which include site coverage, height, front, rear, and east side setbacks. So moving on to the proposed first floor plan, it's a little bit easier to see the areas of addition on the floor plan slide. So you can see here shown in purple, 613 square foot addition to the front of the house. And the project also involves interior remodel, but in the areas of addition specifically, the proposal includes a new bathroom, a new staircase, a new entryway, and a new dining area. Then we have the proposed second floor plan, which is shown in blue here. Again, it's a 500 square foot addition to the second floor. There's also interior remodel proposed on the second floor, but in the new area of addition specifically will be a new bedroom, bathroom, and closet area. Here we have the proposed elevations. This is the front of the residence, and this is the rear of the residence. So this view is from the north, and this view is from the south. You can see that the new architectural style includes a off-white stucco exterior, horizontal wood siding elements, vertical wood siding elements, and a more modern flat roof. And on these elevations, you can also see the sides of the residence. You can see that the proposed colors and materials kind of wrap around the existing residence and area of addition. It's a little bit easier to see on the proposed color renderings what the house will look like. So you can see in these renderings the off-white stucco exterior. This will be, I believe, in the color dove gray for the exterior. And then we have the horizontal wood siding, vertical wood siding, and then this is a limestone trim planter at the front of the area of addition on either sides of the entryway. And you can see from the rear rendering that those elements wrap around the sides and the rear of the residence as well. So here's a little bit more detail on the colors and materials that are proposed. You can see the stucco in the color dove gray. We have the limestone beige tiles. This is for the planters. Then we have the horizontal wood siding and vertical wood siding. And then on this side, we have the glass railings with the charcoal black trim, new garage door, lighting, and window frames. So the Architecture Review Panel reviewed the proposed project on August 23rd, 2024. The subject site is not located within a designated scenic corridor, and there are no special architectural design standards applicable to this property. The ARP found that the proposed project is compatible with the aesthetics of the surrounding neighborhood and recommended approval of the project to the Planning Commission, with additional considerations that the applicant has since revised the plans to address. So those considerations included that the applicant should continue the colors and materials onto the side and rear elevations of the existing residence in order to blend the residence into the architectural style of the new addition, to remove existing brick detail at the existing chimney and planters, and to consider adding more articulation at the sides and back of the residence as well as at the roof line in order to blend the sides and rear of the home into that area of addition. So this slide kind of shows a visual representation of the changes that the ARP had recommended. You can see this image on the left-hand side is what the ARP had reviewed originally, and so that's what their comments were pertaining to. So we had this brick chimney, this brick, this is a planter wall at the front of the residence, and you can see this right here where my cursor is the area of addition. And the existing residence here was unchanged for the most part. Then you can see after ARP's recommendations, that chimney is now going to be stuccoed to be painted white, so it won't be the brick any longer, as well as, you can see it a little bit, but this is that planter wall at the front of the residence that will also be redone with the stucco. And then we're carrying those wood trim elements around the back of the house, which you can see here as well. This is that balcony and trellis area at the rear. And then lastly, at the roof line, in order to match the style of the new addition better, the existing roof itself is going to remain, but they're installing a parapet around that roof, which will be the same height as the tallest pitch of the roof. So that gives the look of a flat roof, but there will still be the pitched roof behind here. But when viewed from the street, it will look like a flat parapet roof to match the new addition. So moving on to the home size comparison, home sizes in the vicinity range from 1,952 square feet to 4,087 square feet. Lot sizes range from approximately 8,369 square feet to 12,668 square feet. The average home size in the vicinity is 2,481 square feet. The average lot size is 10,229 square feet. With the proposed project, the residence will be 3,713 square feet in total, and the lot size is 8,625 square feet. And surrounding homes are a mix of 1- and 2-story residences. And this data comes from the home comparison table, which is in the technical appendix of the staff report, and that looks at homes within a 300-foot radius of the subject site. This data also comes from the county assessor and does not include garage sizes. This slide, you can see the homes in the immediate vicinity of the subject site. So these are on either side of the residence and across the street from the residence. From these images, you can see that there is a little bit of architectural variety in the neighborhood. So some of these surrounding homes have been remodeled for a more modern exterior, while some of the homes are still more true to the original style. Listed here are the 6 required findings for a site plan review per section 17.62.020 of the Calabasas Municipal Code. The applicant's proposed findings for a site plan review are included in your packets as Exhibit B. So with that, staff concludes that the proposed project will not alter the existing single-family residential use of the subject site, which is an allowed use in the RS zoning district. Compliance with the applicable development standards is documented within the written staff report. The existing residence is legal nonconforming in regards to the west side setback, and the proposed additions will continue that existing nonconformity. Homes in the neighborhood range in size from 1,952 square feet to 4,087 square feet. With the proposed additions, the residence will be 3,713 square feet. The ARP also recommended approval of the project design. And lastly, the project is exempt from CEQA review pursuant to section 15061, general rule exemption, and 15301, which is existing facilities of the California CEQA guidelines. So with that, Staff recommends that the commission direct staff to prepare a resolution for approval or a resolution for denial of file number SPR-2024-001, inclusive of all required findings to support the resolution. Thank you, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you very much. Excellent report.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions before I open the public hearing? Commissioner Matt?
Just about the mailbox. I don't even know if we have oversight over the mailbox, but now that there's going to be limestone, that mailbox is going to be a little different.
I'm not sure of the answer to that one. I think it's the post office that has the jurisdiction over the mailboxes. Typically, since they're on the other side of the property line, I don't believe we have jurisdiction over that.
There
right?
is no development code standard that regulates mailboxes.
So just a recommendation, if we do approve, then get the mailbox to match. I
idea.
personally like the design, but I guess we'll get into that.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Leah, anything before I open the public
No
hearing?
questions before.
Commissioner Washburn?
I had something, and then I was going to make a joke about the mailbox. The mailbox is fine. It's just, don't come to my house. It's just a Sears plastic box on a post with a lot of ivy on it, so, you know. So,
Okay, so
not that
shall
I'm
I,
ruling anything, but,
shall I move on, and if you remember what it is?
well, I just want to make a comment about the fact that it looks like the fireplace, at least the brick outline of the fireplace, if there is a fireplace internal to the property, it's actually progressive to think that they may not be looking forward to using a fireplace when AQMD is telling us all that we need to do as much as we can to preserve our carbon disposition into the environment. And
Okay.
you know, as we look at these things in the future, if these folks are doing what I think, it's progressive in my way of thinking. Just commending them on doing that.
To be clear, I think that the material used, rather than brick, the brick that is there, it will be stucco, but I don't believe that
Right.
I don't believe that it's being taken out.
But
That's
they thought
correct.
about it. That's the thing I'm commenting on. That's a good thing.
Great. Terrific. Commissioner Harrison, okay. Commissioner
One very quick question. If you look at the rendering, which is page 12 of the presentation, and if we look at on the top left-hand corner schematic there, is the face of the brick at the bottom, where it starts just to the right of the garage, then you have the doorway, and then it continues with the new addition, is that flush? Is that, you see what I'm talking about, the brick at the bottom there? You just had your cursor on it.
Is that brick or stone?
You're talking about
Stone,
the-
yeah, that's stone.
The planter here?
Yes, and so, and then that same material continues to the right, is that correct?
I believe so. You can see it a little bit better on the proposed first floor plan, but this, if you can see this line that my cursor's on,
Yes.
that's the line of the planter, and this is the garage next to it.
So it is, I call it flush, it's horizontally the same,
Yes,
As the
Okay.
garage column there.
and the garage column as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so this addition is just sort of filling in the space that is in front of the existing structure.
Right, if you mean, it doesn't come out any further than the existing garage does, if that's your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, that's all.
All right. If there's nothing else, I have no questions at the moment.
Any
So
public comment?
I am going, first I have to open the public hearing. So I have no questions, so I'm going to open the public hearing. And I'm going to, I have two sets of speaker cards. Does anyone have questions of the applicant? Because otherwise, I'm going to invite up our other speaker or speakers. I have a card for Ron and Carol Harris, who's, go ahead. come on up to the podium, please, and tell us your name and your city of residence, please.
If I can interject just for a second, typically we'll have 3 minutes for speakers, but there's not too many speakers today. Is it okay if I not use the timer?
Yeah, let's see how it goes. If I have no problem cutting people off if it goes way too long.
Okay,
So yeah, let's go without a timer.
thank you.
There's a possibility I could go too long? You're talking?
No, don't worry about
Okay,
it.
okay.
If you go too long, I'll let you know.
I probably won't.
Okay, we'll give you ample time.
Well-
Again, your name and your city of residence, please.
Ron Harris, Calabasas. We live right across the street, 22643. And it sounds like you haven't quite approved it yet.
We have not.
Yeah, but there are building materials on the front lawn, or just off the front lawn. They've been there for almost a month. So in their minds, it's been approved. You'd be happy to know. In our neighborhood in Mulwood, where this is, we have 3 kinds of neighbors: good neighbors, wonderful neighbors, and bad neighbors. The people in this house are bad neighbors. They don't consider the other neighbors. They do what they want. Right now, they're violating ordinances, an ordinance. They keep their trash barrels in front of the house where they can be seen by everybody. Makes the neighborhood look bad. I've come to this building to try to get the enforcement person to do something about it. That was a long time ago. They're out there all the time. The worst thing that happened was during the last 2.5 years. Suddenly there was a temporary storage unit in the driveway, big temporary storage unit, writing all over it, phone numbers, website, garish, ugly. And it was there for 1 year and 3/4, I'd say. And I came here many times to get something done about it, but the people who own it did whatever tricks they had to do so that the rule couldn't be enforced. The house was unoccupied. There was no construction being done anymore. There was at one time, but I would say at least 2/3 of the time, no construction, no people living there. After I complained and said nobody lives there, someone came and took out all the trash barrels every week and put them on the street and brought them back in. Yet there was no one living there. They're just trying to make it look good. So we had to live with that. I kept coming here to say, can't you do something? And for a while, the person who heads the enforcement part was not coming to work, and everybody in this department knew about it, but they wouldn't tell me why. They didn't say it was illness. I just don't know why he was there. So enforcement wasn't going on. So that was awful. I was embarrassed when people came over to visit us for the first time, and our beautiful neighborhood looked crummy because of this big ugly box there. Now we have built those building materials on the front. The designers here, I spoke to him, very nice man. I think it's a beautiful design from what I can see. I have no complaint about that. But I know these people are not going to care about their neighbors when it comes to invading our lives with their construction. I know there are going to be a lot of rules for their construction that they're supposed to adhere to. I would be very surprised. These are not good people. I haven't really met them. We've lived there so long. And that street, it's sort of, you know, the people over there we don't meet, the people here we meet. A strange phenomenon. But that storage unit was awful, and I didn't want to go over there and confront them, or I couldn't. They weren't there. So I didn't. So I think we're in for a bad ride while this is built. And I just wanted to voice that. That may not be in your purview at all, but it's going to be in our life. And because I feel they're not the right kind of neighbors for us to have if that's going to go on. I thank you. This makes me think I've got my message out. Thank you. I'm glad you had this and opened it up to us.
Certainly, certainly. And please do know, okay, but this is not a conversation, but please do know that, that the things that you spoke of are not within the purview of the Planning Commission, but there is enforcement for the many conditions that are placed on a project when it is being built. So,
I'm
hello.
Carol Harris, and I'm glad to see all this, and I'll be very interested to hear the designer speak.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
Mrs. Harris. I'm assuming that you live with your husband
I
in
do.
Calabasas?
Yes,
That's
the
your
house
city of
across the
residence?
street.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
I'm concerned about, as I see how far it comes out in front, the land slopes, and I'd like to know what that's going to look like and how far. I can see that it's not going to be any further out than the garage, but the land does have a slope to it, and so that's of concern with the deluges that we've had, although I hope we keep having them. I don't know that they'll continue. But, I mean, the plan looks great. How long will it take that we're going to have trucks and people and noise, and that's of concern.
Okay.
Thank
you. Thank you. Okay, I have a card from Milad Kazemi. You want to come on up? You are the applicant? Now, are you here, do you have a statement to make? Come on up.
Sure, yeah.
Do you have a statement to make, or are you here to answer questions?
I don't have any statement, but I'm here to answer any question for sure.
Okay, and again, please state your name and city of residence.
Sure, my name is Milad Kazemi, and I live in Chatsport, unfortunately.
Okay.
In Calabasas.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have any questions of Mr. Kazemi? Nope. Nope. All right, Mr. Kazemi, you are off the hook.
That was
There
fast.
are no
Thank you.
questions.
Thank you.
Nice design. All right, do we have any discussion, or do we have a motion?
I have comments, though.
Go ahead.
I must be in the minority, but thank you for coming. And about that issue with the enforcement, I mean, we had this problem before with the development near where Commissioner Leah lives on Dante's View, I believe it was.
Yes, still
Yeah.
there.
It's still there. So we need to, I hope our staff can let the enforcement know that they need to get out there and stop all this. You know, we can't have building materials just lying out there before they even begin. But anyway, as far as the design, so I guess I'm in the minority here. I have some issues with the design. I have almost the same comments I had as to the house next door to where Commissioner Washburn lives on Calapatria. I think this project design would look good in another area like Malibu. I don't think it's compatible with the homes in the area, which is a requirement on item 4 of our findings. We have to find that it's compatible with the neighborhood. And I think you have to look at the specific design elements and see if they're compatible. I mean, I know in the applicant stated in paragraph 4 of the findings that this proposed project is surrounded by similar height structures with similar decorative wood panels and stucco walls, but that isn't really accurate. That's you know, most of the homes are 1 or 2 stories. That's meaningless. That's like saying this house has a front door like other houses. So that's not a design element that should be looked at. And it has stucco. It's the same thing. That's meaningless. That's a meaningless comparison, that it has stucco. The only thing that they're saying is that it's surrounded by houses that have the same wood design, and that's just not true. There may be 1 or 2, but it's not surrounded, so that's a little unusual. I'm not sure that's a huge problem, but the roof is not compatible with the neighborhood, the flat roof. I didn't see other homes. It's not surrounded by homes with flat roofs. That's not compatible with the neighborhood. You're taking away, and so the one on Calapatria, we said the same thing, and they came back and made the original style roof that's pitched, that looks like it fits better. This does not fit. I think the fascia board is too large. I think the dividing walls around the entry are not found in any other homes in the neighborhood. There's no other home that has those things. The glass balcony in the front, I'm not concerned about the back, but the glass balcony, the glass walled balconies in the front, there's no other house in the neighborhood that has that. That's not attractive. It's not compatible with the neighborhood. Then the lighting. I have the same issue with the lighting. I counted 14 outside lights here. That's not compatible with the neighborhood. I don't even think it's compatible with our dark skies ordinance. These don't look like they're blocked on the top very well, but maybe they are. But 14 lights is excessive. You don't need 14 exterior lights. No other home has that. And then the last, but probably the worst, is the glazing, the glass windows. Again, I'm not concerned about what you're doing in the back, but the glazing in the front looks like a store window, or it looks like something you'd put in Malibu overlooking the coast, but it doesn't look like any other home in the neighborhood. It doesn't even look like you can open the windows. You can't open the living room window or the bedroom windows. There's no dividing lights. There's no panels of glass that move, nothing. It's just big, huge, solid glass. It's not a compatible design element. So I think the design needs to be changed. Or I'm in the minority, but I don't think it's compatible. I can't make that finding. That's all.
All right, thank you. Just for a different perspective, I think that particular neighborhood, there is tremendous amount of variety of design, including ever more modern design, and I do think that the design fits in fine and is compatible with the surrounding area. So I would have no problem. I would have no problem approving this. So that being said, anyone else or a motion?
I just have one comment on the size.
Certainly.
It's over 50% larger than the other houses on the block. It's really huge. That's the only comment I have.
Okay. Do we have?
Just one quick comment, if I can.
Yeah.
Madam Chair. I know we're not really supposed to do independent research, but I'm not a potted plant. And I did drive around the neighborhood, and Commissioner Harrison is of course correct when he cites a finding 4 that there needs to be compatibility in design, appearance, and scale. And we fight this issue all the time, or at least discuss it all the time. Consistent with what Chair Fosberg said, I did count at least 6 homes within 100 or 200 yards of this property that are very similar in this design. Now, whether we approve those or whether another administrative process approved those in the past, I don't recall, but there are 6, not exactly, as Mr. Harrison has pointed out, with the same glazing at all, but with the same sort of modern look. It's happening. These homes in your neighborhood, Mr. and Mrs. Harris, were built in '69, and they're kind of standard models. With respect to the owner of the current home, it's kind of one of the more unattractive models, if you ask me, in the neighborhood. It's kind of boxy. And so to the extent that model is getting revised and upgraded and remodeled, I think that's a good thing in general. And because I did see at least 6 other homes, which I thought were pretty consistent with what's being proposed here, if I were voting tonight, I'm not, but if I were voting, I could find consistency with the design and appearance. Scale is another issue that Commissioner Leah has just raised, scale meaning size, basically. And this is on the larger end of the scale. But it's also reasonably consistent, in my view, with other remodels that have been approved for the area. So I don't think this is going to be any kind of a sore thumb issue, provided, of course, that they follow the rules and the conditions that will be imposed if this is approved. So.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Washburn.
Number one, have you closed the public hearing?
I have not.
Do you want to or need to?
Well,
Because I'll
I
make
do
a motion.
before we make a motion, yeah, I do.
Well,
Wanted to make sure that there are no
Okay.
questions, no
Well, I mean, I have
Okay.
a comment or two, but they relate
No,
to
but the comments
the
can come
general
after.
discussion. I will make a motion if you
That-
close the public hearing.
All right. No questions? No questions?
I have a question of the applicant.
Well, that's,
Okay.
okay.
So
Can you
if
come
you
up,
go
please?
back to page 23 that you were just on, Mr. Kazemi, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to denigrate your design, I just didn't think it's the same as the neighborhood. Is there anything you can do to make the windows look more like these windows, which open and close and are not so massive?
So, may I ask what you mean
At least
by-
in the front.
No, of course. May I ask what you mean by massive windows? Like,
Well, I don't have the picture, but they're like the ones upstairs especially.
Page 6.
These two,
We're looking at page 6 of the presentation tonight.
or even on, yeah. The ones that are upstairs, to me, are just too big and like store windows. They don't open even. Even the ones downstairs don't open.
correct. So those areas, I guess they are not a bedroom for sure, because of course each bedroom needs an egress window, like openable window for sure. So I believe those areas are not a bedroom, so it doesn't need to be openable basically. But if you think that's huge, I mean, those are obviously good for lights that come into the house. But if you think that the big glass is kind of, not maybe good, maybe we can propose like a grid lines on the glass.
Yeah, if you could put either grid lines or make it look like the windows in page 23. It's just something, you're saying you're not going to have opening windows on those top?
It doesn't need to be openable because, like I said, it's not a bedroom probably on.
But don't
I
people want
exactly
air in a
remember
room?
The floor plan.
Don't people want air though in a room?
The air, of course, is coming through the other windows, but not in that space. Sorry, can I see
Isn't that an area that
Yes.
is open to downstairs?
I think so.
The
that's
front
why.
one is a bedroom on the top, but I believe there's another window around the side, so I'm not sure if that solves your.
Correct. So
you
that's
see
a
this?
bedroom, yeah, right.
Yeah,
there.
this is a window, and I believe this is a window right
That's
here.
right. Yeah.
Well,
There's
it's
a
just
egress
it's
window.
the look of it, Mr. Kazemi,
That
to
one
make
might be
it
an
look
opening one.
more compatible. To
Of
make
course,
it,
yeah.
that's-
But the thing is, this design is a modern design. So I totally understand as far as the compatibility, but these windows comes with this modern styles. So if I change it with something that compatible with the styles of other houses, is gonna ruin the modern
okay,
look of the house.
what about the windows downstairs though? It looks better because it's divided. Can
Correct.
you do something like that?
Of course.
I think it
yeah.
would even tie it in a little better. It wouldn't look like a store window.
Yeah, we could do that.
See the
but-
window downstairs, how it's separated a little more?
That's right, yeah.
Could you do something like that on the two top ones?
Of course, everything is possible, but we have some kind of limitation as far as the clients for sure. But if everyone like in this meeting says no, we have to do that, then yes, we have to. But as far as the design, if we copy the windows on the first floor to the second floor, I don't think it's gonna look nice because
Well, what would you suggest?
my suggestion was to put a grid on the window,
A
not
grid?
have it,
Is that, what are you saying, a grid?
the grids, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The
well,
grids
that
on
would
the
be
window,
fine.
yeah.
That would be fine.
So you don't see that big, huge window. Of course, that window has to be tempered window for the safety, but if you think that's, the big glass is kind of bothering the eyes, we can put
If you put a grid like the one you have on the garage door or something,
something like
or I mean,
that. Yeah.
it would be fine. It would take away from that
Yeah,
massive
but
glazing.
again, as far as the functionality, it doesn't have to be openable because
no, I get it.
we have another one there, and for the other one on the front, above the front door, that's the void space from the first floor to the second floor, and that window is all the way on the top, so nobody can reach that basically to.
Okay,
to
but
make-
again, if you could just do what you're saying, a grid of some kind, I would really appreciate it.
Just as an example of that, on the colors and materials board that they provided, this window from their example has, I think, kind of the grid that you're talking about, if that's something that you like. Can you see that in this little
That would break
picture?
it up. It wouldn't look like
Yeah.
a store.
So those windows that we put, we call it a picture window. So that one basically gives you a clear view of the nature or any kind of nice view on the other side. So it's really good. If you put grid, it's gonna basically block the view.
But there's no, I mean, I don't think it's going to block the view. I can see through the grid looking on
Of
page
course, yeah.
13.
Yeah.
It's
But
not-
again, with that, also, I don't think.
You're looking at the Harris's house across the street. It's not the.
No, it's on the second
It's not
floor.
waves of Malibu.
Of
you know.
course, yeah, it's not waves for sure, but definitely there is some kind of greens that you can look at, and plus the lights, like I said. But the most important thing, as I mentioned, is about the style of the house.
Okay, but if you could put the grids in, that would help. And can you reduce the number of lights? I'm concerned about 14 lights.
The number of lights definitely is not something that it has to be fixed like 14. We just suggest that we need these kind of lights. So for the lights, I have to say that the lights obviously brings more safety to the house, because everyone, they have these motion sensor lights in front of the house is gonna turn on if someone passed by. So these lights obviously make the house more secure. Nobody can basically think to break in or something like that. But as far as the number of it, if you think it's too much, definitely we can reduce the numbers of the lights.
Well, I would just suggest it because otherwise, like I said in the other one, at night, if they're all lit up, it's going to look like a rocket
Correct.
ship.
And again, these lights also comes back to the style, because we are designing a modern house. So
Okay.
of course, lights comes with the modern house.
And that's why you want the glass balcony.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. There are recessed lights on the front. There are recessed lights on the back.
So I guess if you can reduce the number of lights, but especially put a grid or something on those two big windows, not the one above on the left side, but the two big ones on the right,
Okay.
sort of the middle and the right, that to me would improve it a lot,
Okay,
even if it's like this.
all right.
Oh, anyway, that's just a hope.
Okay,
No, I really
Thank you,
appreciate
Mr. Kazemi.
Of course.
Don't leave, Mr. Kazami.
Oh,
Okay, sorry.
I have a couple of questions of staff at this point, and our attorney as well, if I may.
absolutely, but do you have any questions of Mr. Kazemi, because?
I might.
You might.
That's
Okay,
the
then I'll
point.
leave the public hearing open.
Yeah, please.
Just hang tight for a minute. please.
That's why I asked about whether we should close or
Yeah.
whatever. We've heard from the testimony this evening, or the speakers, that there is a history to the property that involves some of our own code enforcement issues, perhaps, but they may have been an historical anomaly in the sense that if Mr. Kazami is representing new owners, I don't know that's the truth or not, or whether they're the same owners, and they have decided that they want to make a very modern house. But can you tell me whether there has been a change in ownership of the property? From what we've been told?
I'm not positive if there's been a change in ownership. I don't know if the current owners have always lived there, but perhaps to answer that a little bit, because they did get an approval to do the smaller addition in November of this year. I believe, if I remember correctly, they were preparing to start construction, changed their mind on the scope of work, and then submitted for this project instead. So they may not have been living there that whole time if they were already planning a year ago to start construction and then now submitted for this project.
And may
Okay,
I ask
and-
why you're wanting to know about the ownership?
Well, not about any ownership issue, but just the timing of the commentary that we're having to make a decision on tonight. Number one, I'm concerned that any one commissioner of us, is looking at this as an opportunity to change design without discussion of anything else. And I'm not upset with that, but
Look,
the applicant has a client to please, and they have rights that we have established, and it's been through our internal and our ARP review, and it's submitted as it is. And I may even agree with some of your comments about the kind of glazing or the softening of the retail effect that you're describing and so forth. But there's a lot of things going on in Calabasas where modernization is affecting us overall. Next door to my house, this commission approved a very modern house just like this. and we're dealing with the same kind of thing. It's not next door to this house, it's across Mulholland Highway. But it's typical of what's going on in the architectural aspects of redevelopment of a 50-year-old house or a 30-year-old house. And after the 94 earthquake, I redid my house, and I went from a flat roof, Michael, to a double hip roof. So, it's the choice of the client and the property owner to deal with what is within the law of the city. And we can express our opinions, but I'm not speaking for the commission, and neither are you. And it's not to be insulting at all. It's just to say, if there is an ownership issue, or if there is a code enforcement issue, or there is a legal issue, I think we should be talking about that as to whether we're going to.
So not about the trash bins.
I'm sorry?
Not about the trash bins. You're not discussing that. We're discussing this project, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so
Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I think that we're getting a little far afield.
Right.
We have to rely on, in connection with any project that we approve, we have to rely on our enforcement people to enforce the conditions in relation to any project that we approve. And that's no different here, and we cannot put conditions on our approval beyond the conditions that we would normally place. We can't legislate compliance.
Correct.
We can demand compliance. We can place conditions that are to be complied with, but there's no way at this point to ensure that things will be complied with. That is within the purview of our compliance people. Look, in terms of the number of lights, the project, one of the conditions is that it must comply with our dark skies ordinance. And again, it's up to our compliance people to ensure compliance. But I don't know that it's up to us at this stage to require fewer or greater number of lights than what is within the design and the request of the applicant. We can approve or not approve the project, but everybody's got a different opinion, I have to say, and my apologies, Commissioner Harrison, but I actually like the fact that these are single light windows up above, and that they don't have any kind of grates or separations on them. Everybody's got a different design opinion, but at the end of the day, this is the project that's before us, and I'm actually, unless there are any more questions, I am going to close the public hearing and ask for a motion. Thank you, Mr. Kazemi.
No problem, thank you.
You close it? Okay.
The meeting is closed, yes.
I make
The public hearing is closed.
I'll move that we direct staff to prepare a resolution of approval. And as we have done several times in recent meetings, everybody is basically counseled to listen to the conversations that were done today, including Michael's suggestions and ours altogether. But at this point, it has passed muster with all the appropriate bodies. It's actually capable of being approved at this point from my perspective, and you stated it very well, I think. And if we, I don't know if I need to make the motion conditional, because I don't want to do that. I want to say instead that we direct staff to verify that the things that we've all talked about are within the scope of the approval that we're recommending the staff bring forward for our consideration at a future meeting. So that's my motion, is to approve the project, or
As
actually, to
as
recommend that we develop a resolution of approval.
As presented?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't
Is-
want to add any conditions at this point, but it's up to everybody, staff, neighbors, and the applicant to do the right thing based upon what we all now know from everybody in this room.
Okay. Is there a second? I'll second the motion. Aye. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm opposed because,
Okay.
yeah, I've already
All right.
explained why.
Then the project is approved. Well, the staff is being
Right.
directed to bring us back a resolution for approval, and that was a 4-to-1 vote.
And if I can make a final comment on the approval motion, and that is that everything that has been said here is still open to the best thought that we can do. We always reserve the right to improve. The applicant, the neighbors, the staff,
Absolutely.
the commissioners and everything. So at this point, the second bite at the apple for us will be when it comes back as a draft resolution of approval.
Yep.
And then everybody has a chance to say, hey, they took my advice, and how cool is that? Or they didn't, but, you know, hey, we fought the good fight, or whatever. So
All right.
I think we have a good procedure in place right now, because a year or two ago, we used to actually approve or disapprove, you know, a project, and now it's, all these considerations that were brought up here tonight are potentially applicable, you know, and it could even be a better project than it is already.
Okay. Mr. Kazemi, the project has been provisionally approved. The resolution will come back to us at the next meeting to be technically, the actual resolution to be technically approved. I would suggest that you take what you've heard here back to your client or clients. And hopefully this will be a good project that moves forward for the benefit of the owners certainly and the neighborhood. All right, moving on. Future agenda items and reports. Director's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll wear the director's hat just for tonight. Hope Michael's having a good time on a holiday. Yes, we have a meeting coming up on October 17th, and we have currently 2 items on there, a house on Park Aurora and a CUP in Old Town for a new liquor store type business, which you'll get more information on that in the staff report as it comes. It's kind of a higher end liquor store, but I don't want to get into the item tonight, so.
A liquor store what business?
Type.
A high-end,
Type
I thought you
business.
said
a high-end
type, and I
liquor
didn't know
store,
what that
probably things I can't afford to drink.
Maybe I could jump in on that one. They're describing it as, on the agenda, it'll be described as a wine, beer, and liquor specialty shop. Maybe a liquor store isn't quite the
Yeah,
right
probably
term.
not the
Yes.
connotation I think we want, but we will have those 2 items, and as far as I know right now, Commissioner Washburn, you are going to not be here at the next meeting,
That's
correct?
the plan currently.
Okay,
I
so
hope that
just
hope
so
that doesn't
you all
mess
know-
anything up.
just so you all know that, and I hope you have a good time wherever
I
you
would
be.
ask that an email be sent out to the commission inquiring who is available. I just have this nagging thought that I'm not sure if it's October or November. It may be November that the second meeting, I may not be available. So maybe send out an inquiry regarding availability, please.
We will definitely do that.
Okay.
And that's all I have for you tonight. Thank you
Okay.
for
I
letting
would
me
just
discuss
add
the
that I'm going to my 60th class reunion from UC Berkeley.
Go Bears.
You bet.
Wow, nice.
Except when they're playing.
It's pretty
except
hard
when
not
they're
to do
playing
that when there may
UCLA.
not be another So you got to go while you can, right?
All right. Do we have any other announcements, any other comments from any of the commissioners?
I would like to suggest, Madam Chair, that we adjourn this meeting tonight in honor and respect of the memory of those massacred in Israel a year ago, for those victims, their families, the hostages, and that we keep them in our hearts and remember that tragic day and their memory.
All right. Thank you. Do we have, that is a motion to adjourn?
It is.
Okay.
Second.
Second?
I'll second.
Hearing no objection, we are adjourned in the memory of those lost and affected by the events of October 7th last year. Thank you.
Thank you.